I'm making this video on a Thursday, and between Monday to Wednesday, I have received at least 4 to 5 consultations on the exact same topic, or where the clients have claimed work experience in companies and that company suddenly vanished. The companies got closed, the salaries were paid in cash, the salaries were low, absolutely, etc., etc. All of their permanent residency applications got refused after obviously IRCC have given them opportunities to address their concerns through PFLs. Those PFL responses obviously was not proper, and ultimately the permanent residency applications got refused. And in one instance, somebody had even faced a 5-year inadmissibility. So the issue is quite serious, and I've been telling this, telling about these kind of issues for a while now. You have to understand that if you have worked in such a kind of a company that is not traceable when you are submitting your application, or when IRCC is trying to validate the information provided in your application, most likely IRCC is going to send you a procedural fairness letter. And with all due fairness, they are not incorrect. So let's say if you're claiming your work experience as an IT supervisor in a company, and that company suddenly got closed. Okay, the company was a 2-3 member company, the company suddenly got closed. One thing obviously is to see whether that experience has been genuine or not, whether you have actually worked in that company. But most importantly, if you have worked in a 2 to 3 member or whatever member kind of an IT company that got closed in a couple of years of operation, the concern arises as to what kind of experience you have genuinely got in that company for which you will get a point. Okay, so the logic has to be applied in making sure that even if genuinely those kind of issues exist in your application, you're able to address proactively those issues at the post ITA documentation stage. That on the balance of probabilities, IRCC should understand that the work experience that you're trying to gain points for have indeed been genuine work experience. Okay, if that proactive submission is not made, probably you will receive an ADR. If that ADR is not satisfied, probably you will receive a PFL. If the PFL is not satisfied, probably the application will be refused, and you will receive probably a 5-year inadmissibility as well. I have handled quite a few cases of similar nature where people have gone through because the experiences have been genuine, but they could not claim those experiences. I mean, the companies have actually genuinely got closed for whatever reason, but it has to be country specific. So if you are saying that suddenly a company in India, for example, got closed and it was a startup, then IRCC will deep dive to see whether there is any evidence of the company's existence. If IRCC cannot find any evidence, obviously they will question the authenticity of the information being claimed. So if you're receiving also a procedural fairness letter on issues of this nature, where section 11, section 16, and section 40, and sometimes 41 are being raised, you have to understand that you have to address those specific issues legally in your PFL response. A PFL response of those nature is not really a 2 to 3 pager kind of a submission. It is a serious task. So if you want to keep your file simple, do not claim points for the experiences that the companies that don't exist. If you do not have a proper paper trail like a salary slip, bank deposit, etc., to claim those experiences for. Okay, but if you are still claiming those experiences and gaining points, and that's the issue here. Okay, if you're pointing out those experiences in your personal history section is fine. But if you're gaining points because of those experiences, that's when IRCC says that you're trying to take an advantage of the system. That's when the misrepresentation concern arises, right? But again, if you think that you can genuinely prove that on the balance of probabilities, okay, your experiences have been genuine, and that you have genuinely worked, and that you have genuinely learned the skill which is supposed to be learned from that experience or those experiences, yeah, most likely you go ahead and cite those experiences in your work history section as well. But be prepared to provide comprehensive documentation, logical submission, and most likely you should be ready with a response when the ADR comes in, so that the PFL doesn't arise. So God forbid, if the PFL arises, you should be able to respond to the procedural fairness letter as well. And in many of those instances, I have seen the cases get successfully approved after we responded to the PFL. So the PFL is not the end of the story. With the cases of this nature, what you have to understand is that it has to be comprehensive, it has to be logical, and IRCC should be convinced that in spite of having lack of paper trails, for example, your experiences were indeed genuine. If you need our professional assistance for cases of this nature, most welcome to hop into our website, nuvonation.ca, book a relevant professional consultation. Happy to assist.